Lift and lower. This is called a lateral raise. It's great for the shoulder muscles, the upper back. Always think about good posture when you're doing these exercises. It doesn't matter how old you are to start exercising, because you know what? You will see a difference in a couple of weeks. Remember, get fit, you are worth it. I'm Denise Austin.
For the latest in-depth health news, watch Health Week.
Sunday at 11:30 on WF.
When it comes to great vacation destinations, South Africa wasn't it.
How cruel humans can be to other humans.
Till now.
We're no longer skunks of the world.
Peace.
Take an upbeat tour of a country that's finally opened its arms to everyone.
Two hands, white, black, joined together.
The new South Africa.
The world's best kept secret.
You're going places.
South Africa.
With James Avery.
Next time on Wonders of the African World with Henry Louis Gates Jr.
I've dreamed about coming to Timbuktu since that day when I first heard about this place. Precisely when Europeans said that black Africans lacked the intellectual ability to learn to read and write. This place was brimming with students and scholars. This was Africa's great center of learning.
Going places. Then Wonders of the African World. Wednesday on WFYI.
Why do I watch the Antiques Roadshow? It brings the past to life, I guess. This is a commemorative T-shirt celebrating Woodstock. You can almost feel it. It's like being there.
Discover America's hidden treasures on the Antiques Roadshow.
Man, it brings back the memories. I wasn't actually there, but whoa.
The Antiques Roadshow. What's in your attic?
Tonight on WFYI.
Henry Louis Gates is on the adventure of a lifetime. His personal journey could unveil the secrets of a forgotten past and fascinating cultures few have ever seen and few will ever forget. The mysterious, the revered, the legendary. Wonders of the African World, coming this fall on PBS.
Hello, I'm Ben Wattenberg. Please watch Think Tank, the PBS program on ideas on WFYI, Channel 20.
There's always that moment on the Antiques Roadshow where the person finds out how much their thing is worth. If I'm on that show, I'm going to be like, I don't know how much it's worth. So the appraiser guy will say, it's worth $100 million.
Discover America's hidden treasures on the Antiques Roadshow.
100 mil? Boss, I quit.
The Antiques Roadshow. What's in your attic?
Thursday on WFYI.
My dad and my aunt, they had this great fantasy of owning a ranch. I was illustrating on the East Coast, and I was a good time in my life to get out of the East Coast. The more I understood about living here, the more interesting it got to me. The more I understood what the challenges were. The problems that you deal with here, they're real, they're tangible. It's like whether the cow got better or whether the cow dropped dead is how well you did your job or how well you solved the problem.
Easy, guy. Take it easy.
A lot of things you do on a ranch are really dangerous. You can get hurt pretty easy. It's really a long ways to a hospital. It's a long ways to a telephone sometimes. And it's nice to be able to turn on TV and catch some glimpses of other people's worlds. It's really nice to be able to be on the ranch with somebody else who really enjoys it, and it's wonderful to be with someone who knows more about ranching than I do. And we work together really well. A lot of things that you do with cattle, it's just way easier if you have two people than if you're trying to do it by yourself.
Public television is great because it seems real to me. A lot of the stuff that's on TV, it's really hard to relate to when you live out here.
You know, most of the time if you turn on PBS, there's something interesting on it, and we don't worry, we don't worry about it too much. It's kind kind of like if you're invited to somebody's house and they're really a good cook, you don't worry too much about what they're cooking.
Now, take a fitness break with Health Week.
Hi, I'm Denise Austin, and it's time for a fitness break. If you're bored with your regular fitness program, why not try something different? Rock climbing. I'm here with Colin from Sport Rock, and there's tons of these new facilities popping up all over. Indoor rock climbing centers. And tell us about rock climbing. What's the best benefit?
Well, climbing is a great anaerobic workout. It's good for building upper body strength and toning your muscles. It's also good for balance.
Great. Well, I'm going to give it a try. I've got my safety harness on, and I'm going to go up for the first time. So here we go. Colin's got me, though, just in case. I've got my harness here.
All right, Denise, try to stay over your feet.
Okay.
You can do that by moving your hips into the wall.
All right.
There you go. And that'll take some weight off your arms. So it doesn't always require a lot of upper body strength.
If I use more of my legs, I feel more strength and
That's
a lot
right.
more.
Nice moving. Keep your feet moving up. Excellent.
Okay, I think this is it. Well, go ahead and give it a try. It feels good. I can see why people just love the challenge. Remember, get fit because you are worth it. I'm Denise Austin.
For the latest in-depth health news, watch Health Week.
Sunday at 11:30 on WFYI.
Whether he's in Ethiopia, Zimbabwe, or Timbuktu, this man can party. Join Henry Louis Gates Jr. on his journey to the wonders of the African world.
Coming October 25th on WFYI.
It begins in the loneliest place on earth, threatening every living thing it touches, and its force is felt around the world. It is a wind with a vengeance. Its name, the Catabatic. Its home, the end of the earth. Next time on Nature.
On the next episode of Aristocrats. Are you coming? Growing older has its rewards.
I thought love like this was only for the young.
But it also brings sorrow.
Your life is at stake. Whatever the price, I must pay it.
I wish you could pay it alone.
Diana Quick and Sean Phillips star in the conclusion of Aristocrats on Mobile Masterpiece Theater.
Nature, then Masterpiece Theater. Sunday on WFYI.
As the Mark Russell comedy specials on public television approach the millennium, as we prepare to cross that big drawbridge of the 21st century, we're going to be doing our next show live from the great city of Philadelphia. Philadelphia, birthplace of the longest-running democracy in the history of the world. Philadelphia, where that first Continental Congress met on that first day to take up the vital issue of a pay raise.
Coming October 26th on WFYI.
Heads up, PBS tells the epic story of a city at the heart of the American dream, New York.
I think that New York is a place that people love to love and love to hate. It really holds out this idea of possibility and promise.
That skyline is where we came from. No matter how many times you fly into New York, as a New Yorker, you always feel the same way when you see that skyline.
In telling the story of New York, we're in a sense telling the story of how this nation came to be and what the possibilities and the promise of what it means to be an American.
I think the origin of the movie is the attempt to explain that kind of city of fire that you see any night, you know, kind of looking out at it.
Experience television at its best with New York, a documentary film. Premieres November 14th on PBS.
The most important woman in 19th century America,
the person who wrote the Declaration of Rights and Sentiments, who launches the suffrage campaign, who drafts the agenda for women's rights, on which we are still working, will be a name no one knows.
Coming November 7th on WFYI.
You look at Rochdale, this is quite a unique shop here in town.
On our next trip across Indiana, we travel west of Indianapolis to find that one-of-a-kind item which brings an international flavor to your home.
It's not for everybody. It's for those looking for unique items for their homes.
Join us as we go on an international shopping excursion next time on Across Indiana.
For centuries, the real history of Africa remained hidden and forgotten. Now comes a series that shatters the myths and reveals the true story of proud lands filled with great civilizations. Join Henry Louis Gates Jr. on a personal odyssey that uncovers the wonders of the African world.
Monday on WFYI.
This is PBS.
We hold these truths to be self-evident.
She was probably the most important woman in the 19th century.
When she started her career, women had less rights than someone in an insane asylum.
That all men and women are created equal.
This is a human story because anything that liberates human beings liberates all human beings.
Coming November 7th on WFYI.
It's the first city to be established for one purpose.
New York City was founded by the Dutch. The Dutch didn't give a damn about anything except making money.
It's the first place people encounter upon their arrival from the old world.
You're constantly being forced to, whether you want to or not, watch other people with wildly radical styles.
You have every national group, racial group, religious group represented here. And what they're competing to do is to really create a better life for themselves.
And now, for the first time, its story is brought to television.
New York is unlike any other place in the United States. All the great experiments of American society have probably occurred here first.
A special presentation of the American experience, directed by acclaimed filmmaker Rick Burns. New York, coming this fall to PBS.
Thousands of documents from inside the tobacco industry have surfaced.
What really happened when 60 Minutes took on the tobacco industry?
CBS could be faced with a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit.
Get the story you didn't see. Smoke in the Eye on Frontline.
Coming November 2nd on WFYI.
Next time on Wonders of the African World with Henry Louis Gates Jr.
The memory of slavery and of what our ancestors must have gone through is always lurking. Even a pretty little harbor town like Elmina is dominated by its slave castle. And for us, a slave castle is like Auschwitz. This is agonizing for me as a descendant of one of those slaves.
A musical journey, then Wonders of the African World, Tuesday on WFYI. Stained Glass with Vicki Payne on WFYI TV 20 is made possible in part by the following sponsor.